Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am DM Bloodworth, and as you can see by the graphics, today's video is another episode of my coverage of Adventure Conqueror King System, or ACKS. And I am covering first edition because on October 24th, Alexander Macris will be launching the second edition Kickstarter for his game system, and really looking forward to that. I also wanted to mention that he will be joining me here on Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review on October 27th at 4:15 p.m. Eastern Time to talk about his Kickstarter and the evolution from first edition to second edition. So I've been taking this opportunity, even though I've owned the hardcover and the PDF for quite some time now, probably a little over a year. I just never got around to doing the videos covering this game system, so that is what I'm going to try to do before he actually comes on and and talk about specifically the changes going from first edition to second edition, and possibly why you should then back the Kickstarter, which I'm certainly going to, because really impressed with this system, and I can only imagine how it is going to be improved upon going into the second edition. So without further ado, let's start taking a look at Chapter 4, Proficiencies. The basics of proficiencies. Proficiencies represent particular areas of expertise that your character has developed due to his background, homeland, and training. Each class has a class list of proficiencies representing training that is particularly useful to that particular profession. In addition, there is a general list of proficiencies which represent trade skills and knowledge that is widely available to all. Characters will learn proficiencies from both lists over time. Starting proficiency. All characters begin with adventuring proficiency, as well as one proficiency chosen from their class list and one proficiency chosen from the general list. Characters with an intelligence bonus may choose to begin the game knowing one or more additional proficiencies from the general list. The number of additional general proficiencies that may be learned is equal to the intelligence bonus of +1, +2, or +3. The player may choose to leave one or more bonus proficiency slots open to be filled during play as circumstances suggest appropriate choices. However, bonus proficiencies from high intelligence may only be used to select proficiencies from the general list. I really like that idea of giving the player the option to essentially bank those open slots, and as their character is adventuring and experiencing the world, and basically role playing, that is when they can start to choose various proficiencies from the general list to add to their character. It's I think it's a very right way of thinking about character, growth, development based on what they're experiencing as they're going through their adventuring and experiencing the world that they're adventuring in, rather than having a character start out with a preset number of proficiencies from their previous pre-adventuring life that basically anchors them to their past, let's say, rather than being more focused on what they gain over the future. So I think as a role playing mechanism, it actually makes more sense to and I would recommend to my players to bank those instead of using them all up at once. I mean, they're going to start with the one that's truly their background and whether it be a trade skill or something else, and then encourage them to hold off on using some of their additional slots, especially if they have multiple slots. I'd recommend that they keep them. I wouldn't require it, but I would certainly recommend it. So I really like that. All characters may choose one additional proficiency from the general list at levels 5, 9, and if maximum permits 13. Characters may choose one additional proficiency chosen from their class list each time they complete a full 2-point saving throw progression. Thus, fighters get new proficiencies from their class list at levels 3, 6, 9, and 12. Clerics and thieves get new proficiencies from their class lists at 4, 8, and 12. And mages get new proficiencies. Oh, excuse me. Mages get a new proficiency class list at 6 and 12. This is summarized in the proficiency gained per level table. The table actually makes it more clear than this paragraph that I was just reading from. So here you can see, and let's just grab my favorite is always thief, right? So let's look at the thief. So the thief is going to start with a class and a general at level 1. They will gain a class at level 4, a general at level 5, a class at level 8, a general at level 9, a class at level 10, and a general at level 13. So during the whole course of their career, they are going to have 4 class skills, 4 general skills, plus whatever bonuses towards general skills they might have due to intelligence. Plus, of course, the starting of adventurer, which I'll detail in more detail. So here's your professional list, a proficiency list. General proficiencies are adventuring, alchemy, animal husbandry, animal training, art, bargaining, caving. I had to actually look up what caving meant. I thought he meant spelunking, but I was wrong. Collegiate wizardry, craft, diplomacy, disguise, endurance, engineering, gambling, healing, intimidation, knowledge, labor, language, leadership, lip reading, manual of arms, mapping, military strategy, mimicry, naturalism, navigation, performance, profession, writing, seafaring, seduction, siege engineering, signaling, survival, theology, tracking, and trapping. Then you have your list of assassin proficiencies, bard. Now, they do mention later on that some, like performance, is both a general proficiency, but you also find performance here with bard. So right here you find performance there as well. So there are some overlaps between a general proficiency and some of these class-based proficiencies as well. Then you have your cleric proficiencies, and I'm sure that these are going to include healing. So here you have another example that clerics have healing proficiency, and it was also a general as well. And going on through, you have all of the various classes. Explorer, interesting that Explorer is a class onto itself, and you have probably, I would assume that caving is in here. No, it's not. That's very interesting that caving isn't included as a cross proficiency between the class and the thing. So some interesting things here. Fighter proficiency, That's it. Then they go into the, oh, sorry, mage proficiency and then thief proficiencies. Then we go into the descriptions of the proficiency. So I just want to read adventuring because every character starts with this. So the character is well equipped for the life of adventure. He knows how to clean and sharpen weapons, saddle and ride a horse, set up a camp, and search for a secret door. He has a rough idea of the value of common coins, trade goods, gems, and jewelry. All player characters are assumed to have adventuring for purposes of proficiency throws of standard adventuring tasks. That is really cool. That is, something that I haven't really encountered before in any other role-playing game, where it really says, at level 1, your character is going to have the basic knowledge of adventuring and what that entails. And I've never seen it laid out like this before. So that's really cool. And, that's something that, other game systems should really adopt, that, just that concept that there is a knowledge difference between a 0 level human or demi-human or whatever and a first level. There has to be something that takes place between 0 and first level that makes the character go on adventuring. And it's not just some kind of a background thing. There has to be a skill level that they have acquired that makes them that encourages them that they can even handle becoming an adventurer, right? So I really like this idea. I think it's unique as far as I have seen, and and really a great step in explaining, how does someone just become an adventurer. There's proficiency ranks, and so you have for crafting, let's say, apprentice, journeyman, master, and master craftsman. So some of these proficiencies are going to have levels within them. So fighting styles, you have pole weapons, missile weapons, single weapons, two-handed weapons, and weapon and shield. So those are pretty interesting, and then you have your bonuses attached to them. So some of these are layered even within themselves. Healing proficiency progression. So you have healer. Ranks taken as 1, and they earn 25 gold pieces a month. If they're doing this, they can handle up to 3 patients a day. They identify at 11 plus extra D3 hit points per day. Then they can go to tier 2 or rank 2. They'll earn 50 per month. They have up to 4 patients a day. They can identify on a 7 plus roll. They can neutralize poison, cure disease, and cure light wounds with a 18 plus. A surgeon, all right, that's rank 3, 100 gold pieces earned a month. Patients 5, they can identify on a 3 plus. They can neutralize poison, cure disease, and cure serious wounds on a 14 plus roll. So really interesting stuff. Goblin Slayer is an actual proficiency. This character is trained to ruthlessly cut down his race's humanoid foes, receiving a +1 to attack throws against kobolds. All right, so at level 7 it increases to 13, and at 13 it increases to +3. All right, so +2 at level 7 and +3 at level. I just zoned in on that for whatever reason. I'm playing a ranger right now in Castles and Crusades, so it jumped out to me. Performance and proficiency, and I like the fact that they tell you how much they can earn gold, because that comes important in between adventuring and that kind of thing. it helps you flesh out what your character is actually doing and what they can accumulate along the way. Proficiency progression. So this might be just generic. Oh no, just profession. A character is highly skilled at a civil profession, such as actuary, banker, chamberlain, judge, lawyer, librarian. All right, that's pretty cool. Now, I really like this part. All right, so proficiencies of normal humans and demi-humans. So this is proficiencies for non-adventuring zero-level characters. They do not begin with the adventuring proficiency or any class proficiency. Instead, they begin their careers with 4 general proficiencies. With their intelligence of 13 or greater, they gain additional general proficiencies equal to their intelligence bonus. A character may not select the same proficiency more than once with his or her his 4 starting proficiencies, but may use bonus proficiencies from that high intelligence to do so. So if it does have multiple tiers within a proficiency, they could use their pluses from their intelligence to add to that. What am I really impressed about this? When you present player characters, oftentimes what the dungeon master will do or game master will do is they will give them, this is the bartender, and you might even think to give him, well, he can cook and he can mix drinks or whatever, but you're not thinking about any other kind of nuance to this character. You're not adding anything additional to them, and this here kind of encourages you to give every NPC that the player characters are going to encounter up to 4 different proficiencies. It makes this character much more fleshed out, much more unique. All right, because now every bartender is not the same as every other bartender. They're going to have several nuances built into them, and the players are going to be much more interested in interacting with very general encounters that they have with NPCs, let's say in a small town, because they're no longer going to think of NPCs as being generic. They're going to think about NPCs as having potentially a number of non-obvious proficiencies that they might not have expected, right? And so, they might not be sure if the stable boy only has animal husbandry. The stable boy might be able to do various other things, because it's just kind of disconnected to what they're doing, or they might be really expert at what they're doing. And so that makes them more interested in engaging with every single NPC that they potentially encounter, and that allows the GM to likewise consider creating these characters. I'm going to shift views here. That really allows you to flesh out your world, so much more interestingly, and just with so much more depth to it when you start to consider that every single NPC has 4 proficiencies. It's far beyond any way that I would have thought about it before reading through this section. I never really thought about giving the bartender the ability to travel through a cavern and map out a cavern. That's what caving is, right? And so now the bartender has a skill that the players might be like, holy crap, we really need that. And then encourage him to come along with them and go on an adventure, where he is going to now map out the cavern as they go through it. Almost like a hiring now, because he becomes an expert hiring in that area. And they would never think of asking a bartender in your typical AD&D first edition setting. Um, Ask the bartender what he does or she does beyond just bartending. Now they're going to think, hey, this person might have three other proficiencies that are not blatantly obvious. So really like this system, really like where it goes, and very very subtly lays in layers upon layers of role playing opportunities that quite frankly I was not expecting. This being my first time really going through the system, I can see why people look at Adventurer Conqueror King's system as being the system that is much more focused on domain play and having all of those different layers of role playing and character development, talking about the beyond the adventuring years, right? So the real kingmaker kind of time frame in an adventurer, an adventuring character's career, So really, really interesting stuff, and I can't wait to see how the second edition is going to possibly improve upon some of these things, because there's a lot of unique stuff in here that, like I said, I have not seen before, and it's really, really good. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and remember, upcoming, I have several videos coming up this week. I have at least one live stream coming up on Thursday evening at 8:15. So I welcome you to join on that. If you subscribe and hit the alert button, you are going to be alerted to all of my upcoming content and my uploads at the time. And I will start posting and advertising for the interview with Alexander Macris on the 27th. I will create that, that probably next Monday, because we're meeting on Friday. So I'll give you about 5 days notice of that coming, upcoming event. And as always, thanks for joining. I hope you liked this video. As always, remember to subscribe, like the video, leave your questions and comments in there, and and just keep on gaming. Enjoy the rest of your week, and as always, I look forward to seeing you on a gaming screen sometime soon, or at a convention table in a not so distant future. And you will have the rest of a great rest of your day. Take care.